Yeah, what's up, everybody? It's Ringside Report. I'm Dave. There's Freddie. There's AJ. What's up, everybody? What's up, dudes?
What's up, homie?
Yeah, we're live. Fred, we're good. Fred, we see
I'm
you.
good.
Everything's good. Man, last week we had all sorts of issues, but now we are back. We are in full effect. We're doing the UFC 249 preview here tonight on the show. I'm very excited, guys. I'm super hyped because UFC 249 is actually happening in 2 days. Saturday night, we're going to do a watch-along. We're going to watch the fights together. I mean, not, actually together in the same room like we normally would. But, hey, we'll do it via satellite like we're doing this show. We're going to watch the fights. It's a sick prelim card. It's a sick pay-per-view. We've got great fights to preview here tonight on the show. I'm very excited. Thanks, everybody, for watching here. Thanks, everybody, for listening to the podcast version of the show that you can catch at ringsidereport.net. AJ's here. Freddie's here. Man, we're in full effect, guys. I'm hyped. You can tell I'm excited. UFC 249 has got me very excited because we have some fights finally. There's something going on. This world has been so boring for the past couple of months, and now finally we have something to preview. We have a big weekend coming up. Not only UFC 249, but WWE's Money in the Bank is going down on Sunday. I'm pretty excited about that. We're going to do a watch-along for that one as well with Johnny North and the crew. Like, it's a big weekend coming up. UFC Saturday, WWE on Sunday. This is awesome, guys. This is a good time to be involved in the fight game, to be watching fights, to be watching wrestling. Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, of course, is the main event on Saturday night. Henry Cejudo, Dominic Cruz in the co-main event for the Bantamweight Championship. Francis Ngannou versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik in a heavyweight battle. Jeremy Stevens taking on Calvin Kattar. That's a hell of a featherweight fight. Greg Hardy, we're going to have to talk about him, I guess, taking on Yorgan de Castro. Donald Cerrone taking on Anthony Pettis on the prelims, guys. This is on the TV prelims. Cerrone's last fight was against Conor McGregor in the main event of one of the highest-selling pay-per-views that you'll see in a very long time. And now he's fighting Pettis. Pettis, former world champion, on the prelims. Alexey Oleynik taking on another former world champion, Fabricio Werdum. That's a sick fight.
Yes.
That can main event a lot of UFC cards in itself, and it's just another fight on the prelims. Carla Esparza against Michelle Waterson, the karate hate Michelle Waterson, and Uriah Hall against Jacare. Jacare, are you kidding me? That's the TV prelim card and the pay-per-view. That's ridiculous. It's like two pay-per-views in one.
It's really like watching, honestly, the Super Bowl. It's this exciting. I mean, a prelim card is actually a main card any other time of the year. So, I mean, to see Cowboy Cerrone back in action against Anthony Pettis as a main card on the prelim is unbelievable, man. It's crazy. I mean, the whole card is stacked. You can't get any better. Spend your money. Get the pay-per-view.
It's amongst the best cards ever put together. It's up there because, I mean, you got two big main events and the whole card is stacked. So, maybe, there's not the huge marquee fight because Gaethje and Ferguson is not as prestigious as Khabib Ferguson would have been, but it's still a great fight. And Cruz and Cejudo is a great fight also, and the rest of the card is just stacked. So, no, I'm hyped. Also, I'm just happy that we finally have something like some live sports. I know WWE and AEW have been doing some shows, but other than that, it's been pretty empty in the sports world.
Yeah, that's it. There's been nothing going on, right? And finally, the UFC at the forefront of sports, at the forefront of bringing things back, getting back to business. And I'm pretty excited that it is the UFC. If this was, hey, guys, sports are back this weekend, and the PGA is doing an event, I'd be like, wah, who cares? But it's the UFC, so it's actually something we care about, and it's fun. So, yeah, I'm happy that the UFC is leading the way. The WWE's never really gone away, which is kind of nuts. Neither has AEW. And the UFC now going to Jacksonville, going to Florida, and they're actually going to be staying at the same hotel where AEW is staying because they're doing live shows every Wednesday night, doing their fantastic Dynamite shows. So, it's Jacksonville is the place to be right now. If you're going to Jacksonville, if you're going to be involved in that UFC thing, or AEW, you're going to have to get tested for coronavirus, which looks pretty rough. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos. I saw a guy, John Morgan from MMA Junkie, who's there as a member of the media, and he got a video of himself doing the corona test, and it was pretty nasty, man. They stick that cotton swab way up into your nose. It looks like it's up into your eyeball.
Damn.
It looks rough ski. I'm glad that I didn't make the trip to go cover this Jacksonville UFC thing. I'm glad that I'm not part of the traveling UFC media circus, because I don't want that in my life, man. I don't think the UFC is worth that. I'd rather watch it on TV than go cover it as a member of the media right now. Like, I'm not down with that. I don't want to get one of those tests in my nose.
Dave, I would have went. I mean, I sent you a text this week saying, Dave, I want to come over Saturday to watch the fight at your place, but I got nixed by your better half. But I was ready to come, man.
Well, I don't think it's legal. I don't really think it's you could blame it on her.
6
I think
feet apart.
You
sit on one end of the desk, and I'll sit at the other and do the show live. And Freddie is at home.
Fred, is it legal? I don't know. I don't know the rules. Like, are we allowed to have people over to our homes that don't live with us?
But I got to compromise. I think AJ stays on the balcony the whole time and watches it through the window.
But then I can't have him on the watch along. I guess he'd have to be on his cell phone from the balcony.
Well, I was going to say, I wonder if the South Shore is the same rules, because I would just go over to Freddy's, and that's it. Stay at Freddy's. One edge of the sofa, the other edge of the sofa, and that's it. I'm coming over, Freddy.
Man, those tests look rough. So, yeah, I'm glad I'm not attending that thing in person, and we're just going to be sitting at home watching this thing. I want to preview the fights here on the show. We got a lot to get to. UFC's going to be doing 4 shows in 2 weeks starting May 9th. So May 9th, May 13th, May 16th, and May 23rd. So it's going to be this Saturday, next Wednesday, next Saturday, and then the Saturday after that at least. And then we'll see what happens going forward. But the UFC's got a lot of fights coming up. I want to talk a little bit about Stipe Miocic. Apparently he and DC are looking for a date to fight for the heavyweight title, but no time soon. Anderson Silva says he's got 2 fights left. He had knee surgery. We could talk about Anderson and what you might want to see from him, but I think the main deal here tonight is going to be UFC 249 and the preview for that. We also know the main event for UFC Fight Night on May 23rd. Tyron Woodley, Gilbert Burns. So Woodley
be good.
He was supposed to fight in March in England against Leon Roberts, but Roberts can't leave his country. And I guess Gilbert Burns, he is Brazilian, but he lives in the States, so he's going to be fighting Woodley at 170 in the main event for the May 23rd UFC show, which is a solid main event. That's a good welterweight fight right there.
I think Burns is already in Jacksonville, because I saw a video of him also doing the corona test, so he might already be there.
Makes sense. Why not, right?
Yeah, and he didn't seem to enjoy it. It didn't seem like an experience.
Well, no, it looks rough, man. It looks super rough. Like, AJ would do it, right? And I kind of wish we had sent AJ to go try and cover this thing, because we could get a video of AJ getting tortured with the thing up his nose. I'd like to see that.
Let's try to send AJ to one of these
people.
clinics that test,
Yeah, let's just
AJ
go
document it.
Yeah, let's just go see if we can get you tested, AJ, just for the fun of it, just to see what it looks like.
We can do it. I mean, I'm game for that.
You got nothing else to do.
As long as it's not an anal probe, I'm good, man. It's good. I'm ready to do it. And by the way, Dave, just so you know, the testing is not only once. They got to do the testing every day that they're at that facility or that hotel in Florida. It's every day they get tested.
Really?
So that's the thing.
I haven't heard anything about that. That doesn't make any sense. Testing
is done daily for the COVID-19. There are such strict measures with the UFC. They did not fool around at all. So that's the thing. What people don't realize, it's not a one test.
That doesn't make any sense, AJ. If you test once, listen. If you test once and you're quarantined and nobody has it and nobody else comes in, what's the sense of testing again?
Apparently, there's false negatives or false positives, whatever you want to call it. The thing is that the tests are not always accurate, and the thing is that they have to do it every day. The thing is that they got to test it every day, and there's strict measures, man. The UFC is keeping this to a T. I don't understand how AEW is doing it, to be honest. I don't think they have the
Dave,
strictest
you might
measures
have
like the UFC.
You might have to apologize to AJ because I think he might be right.
What?
Well, I don't know
really?
if they're testing every day, but they've obtained 1,200 tests because they plan on testing multiple.
Make sure
times.
we tape this episode because I want to hear Freddie say that. I want to hear Dave apologize. That's okay. I'll wait for the apology. I'll even wait after the coronavirus because I'll bring back this episode.
Well, then
For once, Freddie, I would kiss you.
Let's get to the good part of the show, which is where AJ's
This
wrong
is
and
the
says
good part.
ridiculous stuff. We can get to the picks for UFC 249 now. Let's get to that so we can see AJ say all sorts of ridiculous things about the fights because I'm sure he's got some hot takes for some of these fights. Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje is the main event. I want to get to that one right away. Ferguson coming in as the favorite, minus 200, Gaethje plus 160, the underdog. Not a huge favorite here, Tony Ferguson. One of the, it's one of the closer fights here as far as the odds looking at this card. We have some other fighters that are much bigger favorites going into this.
Super chat.
Whoa, what was that?
What the heck was that?
What was that?
Who was that,
Oh.
Dave? You, man?
Super chat.
How did you
It's
do
a
that?
new
You're
sound
pro?
effect. When somebody
Wow,
does a
that's
super
cool.
chat, that happens. I guess that's me. That's
Yeah.
my voice. That scared the
Jesus
shit
Christ.
out of
I'm
me.
like, I thought you were like become a ventriloquist. I'm like, how did Dave do that, man? And then I look at the feed and I see
shit.
super chat. That's
That
awesome.
scared
Who
the
is it?
shit out of me. That scared everybody. Hey, if you want to scare us on the show, you can drop a super chat like Patrick C. Hamilton did. Scared the shit out of all of us. Don't know what just happened. If you want to do that,
Man.
make that sound effect happen. That was fun. You can drop us a question on the super chat. Thank you, Patrick. He says, how long does it take for the test results to come in? I don't know. Obviously, I
Well,
don't. Dr. AJ, do you know?
Well, the doctor will tell you. Generally, here in Montreal, you can get like tests like the same day, but it depends on what the reason is. And if I'm not mistaken, in the AEW as well as the UFC, the tests are every day. They get the results. So far, everything has been like okay, but it's every day.
Every day.
Okay, I'm not an
So
expert.
it gets.
I'm not an expert.
They get the same day results. It's same day.
Listen,
Fred?
you know what?
From what I'm reading here on an article on Newsday, they got 600 antigen tests and 600 antibody tests, and the antigen test has a pretty quick result. It doesn't mention how quick it is, but they say anti-testing results are quick and help determine if someone previously has been exposed to the virus for the antibody result test. So the antibody test supposedly is a quick result. They don't say how long, but look, I'm sure the UFC is still taking the proper precautions. A lot of people have been very critical of Dana White, and I don't think like if you're here to hear us say like Dana's wrong, I don't think any one of us three is gonna have that opinion. We're all hoping that it goes well. I think like if anything, we just want everything to go back to normal. I'm hoping
Super
everything
chat,
goes
super
well.
chat.
I'm sure
What?
the UFC is taking all the precaution necessary. And look, like Dana said, there needs to be a first person to start this up, and the UFC is that first like organization that's gonna give us some sports. So props to the UFC.
Super chat. Is so fucking funny.
Super
I
chat.
love it. You know what? I wish that would keep going all the time. That's awesome, man. That's so freaking funny. Super fly.
It's just Fred's
Super
trying to
chat,
tell us
super
something about MMA, and I just super chat. Look at the fuck. And then when I just see AJ going, it's like holding his mouth, trying not to laugh. Oh, you got me, AJ. Thank you, TK, for the super chat. He says, love the jersey, Dave. Thank you. Leor on the
Expos.
chat. Leor on the chat says he's a doctor from New Brunswick. Shout out to Leor. Shout out to New Brunswick. I also love New
The
Brunswick.
doctors.
He says he
salute
works in
you,
St.
man.
John. It says it takes 1 hour to get results back from our rapid test for COVID, but it can take up
Wow.
to 24 hours if we send the test to Moncton. What?
Oh, because of the travel time, maybe.
Well, why would you
And
send
the
it?
whole like.
But I don't understand, Leor. Why would you send the test to Moncton if you could just do it in St. John? Because it's a rapid test? I guess it's a different test. There's one rapid test that you can do just in St. John, and then there's another test you got to send off to Moncton. Shout out to Moncton and St. John. Shout out to New
Man,
Brunswick.
Shout out to the doctors, nurses, and everybody that are working like crazy.
I was
Salute
looking
you.
forward to traveling through New Brunswick this summer to go
Forget it.
to go to
Forget it,
Nova
Dave.
Scotia, take my annual 3-week to a month vacation out in Pictou, Nova Scotia, but that doesn't look like it's happening, unfortunately, which sucks. Cause
I don't think they want people from Montreal right now. Cause
I know I was looking forward to going to Nova Scotia. I love the Maritimes. You guys know me.
Listen, the South Shore doesn't want anybody from Montreal. Forget it, Dave. You're gonna stay on your balcony. You're gonna do balcony films. That's what it's gonna be for everybody in Montreal. By the way, I see that.
Why are you going in and out? What's happening with your audio, AJ? Like, get your microphone straight. I'm hearing your voice in and out. Even via satellite,
when are you gonna buy this mic, AJ?
What the heck happened? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
What's the problem? Are you talking like in and out?
I don't know.
Like some bad porn?
Oh, boy. Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje is the main event here, guys. Odds have Ferguson as a favorite. I've got Tony Ferguson. This is going to be a fantastic fight, I think, because both of these guys just move forward. They don't take a back step. You look at Tony Ferguson, of course, he wins a lot of his fights. He's won now 11 in a row in the UFC against some pretty tough guys. Rafael Dos Anjos, Edson Barbosa, Josh Thompson, Kevin Lee, Anthony Pettis, Donald Cerrone. I mean, it's a solid list of guys that Tony Ferguson has gone through. Justin Gaethje, also, he's won a few in a row. James Vick, Edson Barbosa, and Donald Cerrone, he's won 3 in a row. Before that, though, he did get TKO'd by Dustin Poirier and then knocked out by Eddie Alvarez before that, and those are the only 2 losses to his record. And I look at Justin Gaethje as a guy who's either going to knock you out or he's going to get knocked out, and I don't think that he's going to be able to knock Tony Ferguson out. I don't think he's got the skill of a Tony Ferguson. I think Tony is taller, more rangy. I think he's just got a better striking game and better physical gifts. I think what Justin Gaethje brings to the table is a solid chin and some heavy hands, but I don't think it's going to be enough for Tony Ferguson. The skill is too much. I like that Gaethje never takes a back step. You love to see this guy fight. It's really fun. He's always pressing the action. Ferguson likes to fight very much in the same way. I think the fight is going to be very exciting, but I just see Tony Ferguson as the better mixed martial arts fighter. This is under weird circumstances. They're not able to train the same way. No crowd. It's going to be different, guys, so expect some weird things to happen because it is weird circumstances, but I think Tony Ferguson is good under weird circumstances, and he's going to be good on Saturday. I like Tony Ferguson by knockout or TKO. If you're going to place a bet down, I'd go with Ferguson by TKO or knockout because Gaethje, that's just what he does, man. He comes forward, and he's either, kill or be killed, and I think he's going to be killed on Saturday. Not literally, he won't die, but he's going to get knocked out, maybe knocked unconscious, but the referee's going to have to stop Tony Ferguson from putting more damage on Gaethje.
Look,
I like
you
that
said it right.
Ferguson looks ready. Ferguson, like a couple weeks ago, made weight for this fight. So to me, that's a big plus on his side that Ferguson has been training hard, hasn't stopped his camp because he was expecting to fight Khabib, kept on training from what I could understand. Maybe there was some issues where you don't get your full camp. But he's been active, he's been training, and I think that's going to be a big plus. And I do agree also with your point that he's probably the more skilled fighter. With that said, I think Justin Gaethje is a very skilled striker. If this fight stays standing up, both guys are tough, and they're going to be trading, and they're going to both be connecting some good shots. And they both have a good chin. So, once you're going in that type of fight, it could go either way. But, yeah, I do believe Ferguson's the better fighter, and I'm picking him tomorrow to win. Well,
look,
Saturday.
Dave?
Yeah, Saturday, not tomorrow. Yeah,
Dave,
AJ?
This fight is exactly what we need to start the UFC to get sports rolling again. If it was going to be a fight against Khabib, Ferguson versus Khabib, stylistically, it favors Ferguson in some sense. But fighting Gaethje, these two guys, there's going to be fireworks. which makes it a much more dangerous fight for Ferguson. That's why the odds makers have it very, very close. The thing with this is that Ferguson hasn't lost in 10 years. Gaethje has never submitted anybody, and he has never been submitted himself. So when you look at this game, they're going to start up. They're going to throw fireworks. Ferguson likes to get hit, and that could be the dangerous part because Gaethje, the thing with this guy is he has a solid left hand. He has great leg work. He has great movement, and that could put Ferguson in a lot of trouble. What Ferguson needs to do is that the first 2 rounds are going to be crucial for this guy, like super crucial. What it comes down to is he's going to have to pick him, but he really has to play. His key to winning this fight is shooting, and he's going to have to take down Gaethje from the first 2 rounds and really start mauling him. Because if you let Gaethje do his work in the first couple of rounds, this guy will do what he's done to the rest. He'll knock you out. And honestly, between these 2 guys, when you look at their UFC fight bonuses, man, these guys are like, I don't know how many they have combined. I think it's something like crazy, like 17 or whatever. I'm not even sure, but it's a high number. The thing is that's what it comes down to. These guys like to put on a fight, and they like to showcase a fight, and they come out exploding. But Ferguson, it doesn't make a difference if there's anybody in the crowd or a full crowd. Ferguson goes into this weird mode where, like you said, he's just a strange animal. Even his training camp, it's very, very strange. But it works for him. That's why this guy hasn't lost in 10 years. Like I said, the key to victory for Gaethje is to stop the takedowns of Ferguson, which he actually has a high percentage. He's up to 80% takedown stoppage in his career. The thing is that nobody submitted him. Now, the thing is, who's going to win this fight? Look, if Ferguson plays his game, I think he's going to submit him in the end. And that's going to happen after the 3rd round.
Yeah, I disagree with you, AJ. I don't think the key to victory for Gaethje is to stop the takedown. I think Tony Ferguson is going to be happy to keep this fight standing up, and he's going to piece him up, and he's going to hit him with those elbows. He's going to slice him and dice him. He's going to put him to sleep, man. I think Ferguson is not really going to shoot very much. No, man. I don't think.
I think he would struggle.
I don't think it's gonna. Yeah, I think he would struggle. I think Gaethje is a better wrestler, but Gaethje doesn't like to wrestle. He's one of those guys that likes to stand and bang. And I think Ferguson is just going to use technique, stay on the outside, use the jab, and use those elbows when he gets close and hurt him and put him down. I think it's going to be a TKO. I really don't think it's going to be much of a fight where Ferguson is pushing Gaethje against the fence or looking for the takedown. I don't think we're going to see a lot of that. I think it's going to be 2 guys pressing forward and Ferguson landing the better shots. I don't know if you remember Tony Ferguson's fight with Lando Vannata, but Lando Vannata kind of fights a little bit like Justin Gaethje, presses forward, just all chin, taking punches and just winging them. He'll take 10 to land 1 good one, right? And that didn't work out so well with Lando Vannata. Tony Ferguson put a good beating on him. I think this is just going to be a better version of that. And I think it's going to be Ferguson getting the win by knockout. Like I said, Justin Gaethje, look at his record, man. This guy either gets knocked out or knocks you out. Like, it's none of his fights. Okay, his 5th pro fight ended with a rear naked choke submission victory for Gaethje. No other fight on his record has ever ended by submission. I don't really know why you're saying Tony Ferguson submission here, AJ. I don't see it. But, hey, maybe AJ will be right on Saturday night. I knew AJ was going to have some wild predictions. This one is weird. Ferguson by submission. I've got Ferguson by knockout because I look at Justin Gaethje's record, and I see that pretty much all his fights that he wins are by knockout, and then the 2 fights that he's lost, also by knockout. He's kill or be killed. He goes in there and swings for the fences. Sometimes he hits a home run, and sometimes he goes to sleep.
Look, it's very simple. He wasn't a fighter or a stand-up guy from the beginning. He was a former collegiate wrestling champion. And that's the thing. He got better in his striking. And what's going to happen in the long run, he was a champion in wrestling in the beginning. What's going to come is that I'm telling you, the first couple of rounds, we're going to see Gaethje looking good. And as soon as the 3rd comes, for sure, he always slows down. And that's where Ferguson gets better. Ferguson, the first couple of rounds, man, he'll take a beating if he has to. And then he comes and he does what he does best. And he's always going to expose you for what's your weakest. And that's what Ferguson's going to do in this fight. He's going to expose Gaethje for his wrestling skills that he hasn't used in the UFC. And I'm telling you, there's going to be a submission. And if that submission comes, It's going to be some crazy submission, an anaconda or something.
I
Ferguson is the
I
man
could
that's going
see
to
it.
do it.
I could see a submission. I'm just saying I don't think Ferguson's game plan is going to be shooting to get a takedown. But with that said, if it goes into the later rounds and Gaethje is a little like out of cardio, I could see Ferguson ending up getting a takedown at that point in rounds 4, 5. And yes, maybe he could get a submission at that point. But I think early on in the fight, this is going to be standing up. Both guys are going to want this fight standing up early on. And we'll see how it goes from there. You know, if one guy dominates standing up, well, the other guy won't have a choice but change his game plan. And if Ferguson, let's say Ferguson is dominating the stand up, he won't go like to the ground in rounds 4 or 5. He'll just keep it standing up, and the same thing for Gaethje. Like I expect it to be mostly a stand up fight.
Yeah, I do too, and I've got Tony Ferguson by knockout in the 3rd round. Fred?
Oof.
Ferguson decision.
Oh, interesting. AJ?
I'm not sure what round it's going to hit, but either the 3rd or 4th round, Ferguson is going to submit this guy, and he's going to get that first submission loss. It's happening.
All right. Well, however you
Ferguson's
slice
going to
it,
go out with.
we've got it unanimously, the Ringside Report team, unanimously for Tony Ferguson to win. We just got it by all kinds of different ways. Freddie likes a decision. AJ, you like the submission. I'm going with the knockout. I want to get to the rest of this card here, guys. So many good fights. I mean, we could talk about Ferguson and Gaethje all night, but let's not. I mean, let's get to some other fights, right? We got other fights to get to here. Henry Cejudo and Dominic Cruz for the Bantamweight Championship. Yes, this is a great fight, man. I love this thing. And I know that Dominic Cruz hasn't fought in quite some time, 2016 to be exact, when he lost a unanimous decision to Cody Garbrandt. But, you know, Dominic Cruz is one of the greatest bantamweights ever, one of the greatest bantamweight champions the UFC's ever seen, for sure. And Henry Cejudo is the current champion. He was going to fight Jose Aldo instead. And, you know, the Aldo fight didn't make a ton of sense. Aldo was coming off a loss, technically, even though most people thought he won that decision. But, you know, it's a fun fight because it's two guys that you've heard of fighting in a co-main event of a big UFC pay-per-view. It doesn't make the most sense in the way that, you know, Dominic Cruz hasn't really worked his way up to a title shot, but they're kind of giving him a shot based on who he is and that name value. Odds makers like Henry Cejudo minus 210, Dominic Cruz plus 190, the underdog, makes sense, but am I crazy to think that Dominic Cruz has a good shot in this fight?
I'm
No, I
picking
think
him.
you're right, Dave.
Fred, you're picking him. Tell me why. Convince me.
Because he moves way better than Cejudo. I think if Cejudo cannot close that distance, Cruz is winning by decision. He's going to frustrate Cejudo. He's going to move a lot, and it's going to be an issue for Cejudo. And if Cruz connects, Cejudo's going to start getting frustrated, and Cruz is going to connect more and more. So, look, Cejudo right now has been so impressive since he won both his titles. Like his run to get those 2 championships, defeating Demetrius Johnson, which was a surprise back in the day for me, and then defeating TJ Dillashaw. Like Cejudo, incredible run. But I'm a fan of Dominic Cruz. I think his movement is going to be an issue. And look, I'm going to go with him. It's a long shot, but if I get a mise au jeu somewhere, I might put some money on Cruz.
Yeah, I think that there's good reason to believe in Dominic Cruz. You look at this guy, his body of work, his record, the fact that he's only 35. He's still just 35. He's been in the game for a long time. You feel like he should be older, but, you know, you look at Dominic Cruz, 22-2 as a professional. That second loss came in his last fight, a decision to Cody Garbrandt. Garbrandt fought a very similar fight than Dominic Cruz. You know, he fought that Cruz style and kind of outdid him a little bit, was a little bit more athletic and outpointed him. But Henry Cejudo doesn't fight that style, and I wonder how it'll work here. I think Cejudo's more powerful than Dominic Cruz. I think if anybody's getting finished in this fight, it's gonna be Dominic Cruz, but you got to catch him to finish him. The only guy that's ever finished Dominic Cruz was Uriah Faber back in 2007 when Dominic Cruz was, in his infancy as far as being an MMA fighter. He's very smart. He knows the game inside and out. The only thing going against him is, we haven't seen him fight in 3.5 years. That's really what I'm seeing here.
Remember when he was off?
Yeah.
He was
Against
off for a long
Mizugaki.
time, and he came back very good.
Yeah.
So
When he was off,
he's got it in him.
he beat Demetrius Johnson. By the way, these are the last two guys to have beaten Demetrius Johnson fighting each other on Saturday night, Henry Cejudo and Dominic Cruz. Cruz beat Demetrius Johnson in 2011. After that, he had a serious knee injury, didn't come back for 3 years, returned in September 2014, beat Mizugaki with a knockout in 1 minute and 1 second. Looked incredible, looked better than ever. People thought he was done. 3 years away, you're done. Nope, not at all. People have counted Dominic Cruz out before. This guy's a champion. This guy's fought championship-level fights. I'm taking Dominic Cruz. I think he wins a decision. The Dominator. The Decisionator. He's going to do it again, man. It's going to be Dominic Cruz once again. I feel like he's going to be able to move around Henry Cejudo, land points, score points, win rounds, and become the bantamweight champion once again. It's going to be crazy. If that happens, man, I'm going to go bananas. I can't wait for the watch-along on Saturday night, 10 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. Don't forget, we're going to be here on Saturday watching the fights with you, all of us, Freddie, AJ, me. We're all going to be here. And if Dominic Cruz wins the title again, man, we're going to go nuts. That's going to be crazy.
Dave, I'm going to tell you something. This fight is going to be awesome. They're both super technical. You're looking at a guy who's a world-class grappler, a world-class champion, been to the Olympics. The guy has accolades. He's proven everything. The difference is he's fighting Dominic Cruz. And Dominic Cruz said one thing. He says he's not worried about Cejudo. He was more concerned about TJ Dillashaw. So that says it all. You're right what Freddie said. When this guy loses, he comes back, and he comes back to win. He says that he's improved a lot since the Cody Gambit fight. He's learned a lot. And I saw him in the training camp, and he looks good. And I'm going to tell you something. It's funny that you guys are going with Cruz because I was the last time I checked on MMA Junkie, they had a poll out who would win this fight. The favorite to win this fight on the poll was 56% to Dominic Cruz over 44% for Cejudo. So a lot of fight fans are picking exactly what you guys are saying. But let's not forget.
A lot of people don't like
he's fighting
Cejudo.
Yeah, that's
you know
true.
what it is? You know what? You're right. That's the thing. But you can't look. Some people might love Conor. Some people might hate Conor. Masvidal, whoever it is, John Jones. But the bottom line is that you got to look at their fighting credentials. I might not like the guy's face, but the bottom line is his record stands, and that's what's going to make the difference. So you can't count out Cejudo just because you don't like him with his gimmicks and all that kind of stuff. The guy is a gold medalist in the Olympics. He's come to the UFC and he's proven himself over and over again. The only difference is that Cruz is like a devastating machine. He's a taller guy. He moves hard. He moves fast, I should say. He punches hard. And you know what? If he's a healthy Dominic Cruz, which he looks like it, he's going to win this fight.
Whoa. So we're all picking Dominic Cruz here. By decision, AJ?
You know what? This is going to be crazy. If it goes the distance, I'd be surprised. And if it does, it'll be the decision. But I'm looking for a Dominic Cruz knockout. He wants to knock this guy out.
If it goes the distance, you'll be surprised. But if it does, it'll be a decision. Yeah, no shit, AJ.
Well, yeah.
If it goes the distance, it's got to be a decision. You can't call it anything else, man.
I'm saying it's not going to the decision. I'm saying someone's getting knocked out of this fight, and I think Dominic Cruz is going to knock Cejudo out. He has something to prove, and he's going to do it. It's going to be a crazy night.
Weird fight outcome predictions here for AJ. I hope you don't put those picks on your parlay. You will not win. I'm going to go with Dominic Cruz.
No. You listen to AJ, you win.
I'm going with Dominic Cruz by decision. I think Fred is too. Freddie?
Yep.
Yeah. AJ's going with Dominic Cruz by knockout somehow. Strange. Francis Ngannou, Jairzinho Rozenstruik. You know, one of these heavyweight fights where you feel like somebody's going to get knocked out, but then there's this thing in the back of my mind that says, Nah, it's going to be boring, and they're going to go to a 3-round decision.
What? Come on, Dave.
It's either going to be awesome and going to end in the first round with somebody going out, or they're both going to respect each other's power a little too much. One guy's going to get hit, then the other guy's going to get hit, and they're not going to like it, and they're going to back away, and it's going to be like Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis all over again.
I hope
Man,
it's
I think
not.
you're wrong. You're wrong, Dave. Blasphemy.
I hope
Let's
I'm wrong.
Not on this card.
I hope I'm wrong. I think this fight is going to suck. All right, that's my
What?
bold prediction of the night.
No.
I think this fight, as much as people think it's going to be awesome, I think it's going to be terrible. And I've got Jairzinho by decision. Okay, Jairzinho by decision. Plus 250 the underdog.
No, you see, I got
Ngannou is minus 275 the favorite. I got Jairzinho by decision. You take that. I wonder what the odds are on that on a Mizojur. I'm telling you, I'm sure it's a long shot.
I got Ngannou. Ngannou is not gonna give a second awful fight. When it happened against Derek Lewis, the people turned on him so much. People are back on the Ngannou hype train. Ngannou's gonna deliver. He's gonna knock out this Jairzinho guy. He's not Brazilian. I'm trying to remember where he's from. Dominican Republic. Suriname. Whatever. Yeah. He's gonna knock him out. Ngannou. Round 1.
No, I don't think so. I think Jairzinho is a much better striker. He was a former professional kickboxer. He is 10-0 in MMA. He's won all his UFC fights by knockout. I think Jairzinho is super legit. I don't think he's going to be able to knock out Ngannou because Ngannou is too tough. Ngannou's never been knocked out. The only fights that he has lost are by decision. He is 14-3 as a pro, and I think Ngannou's about to lose another decision here. I'm telling you guys, Jairzinho by decision is the play for me.
Look, Dave, this fight is someone's going down on the canvas. Generally, someone like Ngannou is going to put you down, like you can knock a guy out in 71 seconds, it's lights out. But he's fighting Jairzinho. I've seen Jairzinho in interviews and whatnot. I've never seen hands so big in my life. This guy has the biggest hands I've ever seen. And the one thing with this guy that is exceptional over Ngannou is he's been fighting kickboxing at a high level with some of the best kickboxers in the world.
Bingo.
So when it comes to fighting big fights, he's used to it. And the thing with Ngannou is if Jairzinho gets him with a head kick, it's lights out. And I'm telling you, and I love Ngannou. I saw him pick up the Shaq like as if it was nothing. Even the Shaq was. But this fight here is going down. And
you mean you could just call him Shaq?
No. I'm calling him the Shaq.
But his name.
I want you to repronounce Ngannou. I want you to repronounce and go ahead.
Ngannou.
Forget that. I want him to say Cody Garbrandt again.
Listen.
What did you call him, AJ? What did you call him?
Doesn't matter.
Cody
listen
what?
to me.
Cody what? Just say it.
Listen.
Cody.
Hey, listen. Don't get mad at me if I talk like
Cody
the
what?
British dialect. Because the people in the UK, they agree with me.
What do they say?
Potatoes.
Cody Garbrandt. Say it.
I can't remember now. So listen.
Cody Garbrandt. You just have to repeat. You called him Cody Gambit before.
Did I?
Yeah.
Maybe I was thinking about the Gambino family.
I don't know.
Let me finish off. Jairzinho is going to knock out Ngannou. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be a head kick, and unfortunately, Ngannou's going down. And I hate to say it. So if you want to make some money, go with AJ.
Yeah, Ngannou's never been knocked out. AJ thinks it's going to be the first time. I think Ngannou's going to lose a decision to Jairzinho. And Freddie, you're going with what? Ngannou a win by knockout?
Yeah, and if you guys are so confident, you should be betting because, I mean, Jairzinho's a pretty big underdog. So
yeah, I will.
I'm going to go with
10-0. Hey, listen. 10-0, Freddie. Let's not forget that. He's 5-0 in the UFC. This guy is no chump change. He's used to, standing up with the best of the best. It's not like this guy came out of nowhere. Yeah, he's sort of that overnight sensation in the heavyweight, but he's so underrated that Ngannou can't keep this guy like lightly, and he can't give him the distance because once Jairzinho gets that kick up, he can get that leg up so high. I'm telling you, this guy is fast, powerful, and he has a lot of tools to be able to stop Ngannou.
Yeah, I like Jairzinho to
Hallelujah.
win. Freddie's going with Ngannou. I like this. We're split on this fight. It's going to be an interesting one on Saturday. Jeremy Stevens against Calvin Kattar. I don't really have a read on this fight. I think it's going to be a good one. They're both, super talented. They both move really well. Calvin Kattar looked really good in a loss to Zabit in his last fight. He's, a talented 145-pounder. Jeremy Stevens has been around forever. He's lost a lot of fights recently, though. Like a lot, man. He's lost way more than he's won. 3 of his last 4 with 1 no contest. That fight with Yair Rodriguez.
Both lost Zabit.
I mean, he's not losing terrible guys. It's to Aldo, Zabit, and Yair. But still, he's losing a ton of fights here. He's got a 28-17 record, 17 losses, and a lot of them have come in recent years. He hasn't won that many fights. He had a 3-fight win streak at one point in the UFC, but before that, Stevens lost 2 in a row. He's won a bunch of fights. He's always entertaining, but man, this guy, for a UFC fighter, Super chat. Whoa. He loses.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, there you go. He seems to lose way more fights than the average kind of big-name UFC fighter that they keep around. You know what I mean? Like, Jeremy Stevens is definitely kept around because he's exciting. He always goes for the gusto. He's always 100% in that fight. But I feel
Dana likes him.
Yeah, that's it. Dana likes him, but I see him, and I'm like, yeah, you don't win a ton of fights, man. It's weird.
Well,
yeah, but there's guys that Dana will always appreciate, man. I'll throw in the name to Diego Sanchez. There's guys that Dana will keep for a while because he's just Jeremy Stevens probably been there before for Dana. He's been a guy that Dana could count on, and Dana's still gonna, give something back to those guys. He's gonna give them an extra couple of fights. So that's what Jeremy Stevens is to me.
Yeah, look, he's he's fun. He's fun to watch, but I think he's going to lose to Calvin Kattar by decision here. He is an underdog, plus 250, 225. Kattar minus 245, the favorite. I've got Kattar by decision here. AJ?
Me too, but I'll just...
Oh, sorry, Fred. Go ahead. Go ahead, Fred.
Well, I was going to say, if there's an event where there's going to be some surprises, this could be the one, because who knows how all these guys have really been training, how easy it's been to get training partners and all that. So if there's an event where there's going to be some surprises, this might be the one.
Yeah. So what are you saying? You think Stevens is going to win?
I'm going with Kattar by decision. Calvin Kattar.
AJ?
Yeah.
Clean sweep. We all got a clean sweep. Kattar by decision. Greg Hardy taking on Yorgan de Castro. And I'm looking at this fight card on Wikipedia. I know this is a good indicator that Fred always likes to use. Yorgan de Castro, the only guy on this card without a Wikipedia page. So he's there as a jabroni for our boy Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy minus 195, the favorite. Yorgan plus 180, the underdog. So he's not a huge underdog, but it's a Greg Hardy fight. They seem to line guys up for him. He did lose his last fight, right? The last fight was the Volkov fight. He didn't look terrible, lost a decision. I figure he wins here by knockout.
Look, Dave, this is a fight where you hope that Hardy loses. And you know what? This is a fight that he can lose. Because let's not forget the last fight with Justin Tafa, what happened to him. It was a nasty KO by De Castro. So the guy is underrated, but he's 6-0 with 1 win in the UFC. Hardy, you know what he wanted? You know what he said today? Or was it yesterday? I'm not sure. He says he's looking forward to his future to get into the WWE. So it's not going to stop for you. You're going to see this guy go from the UFC to the WWE because he knows his future is coming to an end in the UFC. He's going to get so many fights. This is going to be that fight where everybody's going to watch and Hardy's going down. De Castro is going to knock this guy out.
Greg Hardy would not last in the WWE. He's got zero personality. What are you talking about?
That's what he wants.
Terrible.
He wants to. Oh. Listen, man, that's where he wants to go.
Well, good for him. You can want to go, I want to go to Disney World right now. It's not happening.
In
not?
today's
You could
age,
go.
I can't believe,
It's close.
I cannot believe that the WWE would hire him. WWE has had and currently has a bunch of guys that probably have some suspect backgrounds, but I don't think they would get into the Greg Hardy business. I do expect Greg Hardy to win on Saturday. Overall, he's a good athlete. If anything, we got to give him that. And Jorgen, I know nothing about Jorgen, and I expect Hardy to be a better athlete and to just like use his athleticism, maul him,
Yeah.
and probably win by TKO.
Yeah,
But
enough
you know
about
what?
Greg Hardy. He's the worst. He's the worst, AJ. Who cares about Greg Hardy? Donald Cerrone
He's going
and
to
Anthony
WWE.
Pettis. Let's talk about those
Woo!
guys. Those guys are respectable MMA fighters. Cerrone coming off that quick knockout loss to Conor McGregor. Anthony Pettis coming off a loss as well to Carlos Diego Ferreira, a submission. Of course, Ferreira, a very tough 155er. Before that, Pettis fought Nate Diaz and lost a decision to him. So these guys, high-profile fighters, big names. We've seen them around the UFC for a long time. They have fought before, and Pettis won. Pettis is the favorite here, minus 135. Cerrone plus 115, the underdog. Not a huge underdog considering Anthony Pettis put a vicious beatdown on Donald Cerrone, knocking him out in 2 minutes, 35 seconds the first time they met back in 2013. So, 7 years have passed, but I do think that they are basically the same as what they were back then. I think relatively, they've both evolved. They're both, older and wiser and more experienced, but you look at the skill sets that they both brought into the cage back then and the skill sets that they bring into the cage now, and it's pretty much the same. And I think that Pettis will do pretty much the same thing he did to Cerrone the last time, and I think he's going to knock him out in the first round.
That's all right, Dave.
It's going to happen.
Look, if these guys were like 28 years old, 27 years old, back in their careers, it could be very different. Look, they're coming to the end of their career. These guys have been around for a long time. They've shown a lot, and they're coming down to a prelim card where, which is great. I think it's an amazing prelim main card, but we're not going to see Cowboy and Pettis fighting like they did way back. I feel bad for either fighter because when it comes down to whoever loses, their career is going to be shortened a lot quicker. And if Pettis loses, even though he's beat Cowboy in the past, it goes to show you that his career is probably going south. So he needs that win. He needs that win to stay alive. Cowboy might get another 1 or 2 fights, win or lose. But let's be honest, their days are coming, man.
Come on.
For retirement.
AJ, here's the big difference in that fight. Cowboy Cerrone, 37. Anthony Pettis, 33. Pettis has got some good years ahead of him. Cerrone is nearly done. If not done already. That McGregor fight could have been the last big payday of his career. AJ,
Listen,
I know you are the old man of the show. You're the oldest member of Ringside Report, and you like to stick up for the oldest guys on the card. And I understand that, and that's fine. We'll talk about Alexey, Oleynik, and Fabricio Werdum in a second, and I know you'll get your old guy fix there. But right here, this is the 170-pound division. It's not the heavyweight division. You can't be an old guy. You can't be 40 years old and still rocking. Donald Cerrone is 37. He got knocked out by Conor in, 60 seconds or whatever it was in his last fight. It just didn't work out. And AJ, stop shuffling those damn papers. I can hear you shuffling the papers.
Listen, Dave, before you freak out there and have a stroke, listen to this. You know what? The difference with these two fighters are that their careers are coming. He's 33, Pettis, but the way he's fought in his career, these guys have fought hard, man. Cowboy Cerrone has fought hard. There's so much wear and tear on their body that their shelf life is going to be short, man. It's going to be shorter for Pettis as well. And that's what I'm saying. So, look, it depends on their style of fighting. These guys slug it out all the time, and that's what happens. Their shelf life is shortened. It's not like Tony Ferguson, too, like they were talking about Ferguson. He slugs it out, but he fights once every blue moon. You look at guys like George that fought. He fought a very strategic fight. He didn't duke it out like these guys. The guys that duke it out, their careers are shortened.
All right, Duke.
I don't know if that's what it is.
Who are you picking, Duke Silver? What are you doing here?
I'm picking Anthony Pettis for a decision win.
All right, good. I'm
I
going
don't
with
know if
Pettis
it's
by
the
knockout
mileage.
first round. Freddie?
I don't
What?
know if it's the mileage for Pettis, but I'll tell you what. A couple of years ago, when he came out of the WEC with that incredible win over Benson Henderson, he lost his first fight in the UFC to Guida, but then he got a nice little run where he became the champion. And at that point, I thought like Pettis was going to be a huge star for a long time. But since then, he's had a lot of ups and downs and a lot of downs. So I'm not that high on Pettis. I still think he's in a better place than Cerrone. To me, Cerrone's really at the end of his career. I'm going to pick Pettis to win tomorrow, Saturday. But like Pettis, he's had a lot of downs in recent years. It's not the Anthony Pettis that once was a champion to me.
You know, it is a different Anthony Pettis for sure, because the Pettis that fought Cerrone knocked him out and then fought Benson Henderson to win his first UFC World Championship. So it was a different world. It was a different UFC back then, without a doubt. But, you know, it was also a world where Cerrone was a top contender at 155, and, you know, we're just not there anymore. And Cerrone did not look good in that fight against Conor. I mean, he just looked completely overwhelmed. And he's a guy who's lost 3 in a row, you know, and he's got knocked out.
Didn't look good
by some
against
rough...
Gaethje either.
No, got knocked out by Gaethje, got knocked out by Ferguson. We are talking about 3 of the best fighters in the world here, but Cerrone got completely obliterated by them. And the Conor fight only lasted 40 seconds, man. I think Cerrone's in trouble here. I think Cerrone gets knocked out again on Saturday. Alexey Oleynik versus Fabricio Werdum. Who will choke who? Oleynik is 42. Werdum is 42. AJ is older than both of these guys, and he loves it. He loves it. AJ, tell me, who's winning here?
Look, Oleynik, worst nightmare is to come and fight a guy like Fabricio Werdum. All this shit that worked on everybody else will not work on Fabricio Werdum. This is a nightmare for him. He's not going to get submitted. Werdum is not going to get submitted. But unfortunately, Alexey is going to there's going to be either a KO or a stoppage. That's how this fight's going to end.
Who's Alexey?
Oleynik. Alexey, whatever his last name is.
Alexey Oleynik. You called him Alexey.
I'm gonna say this is gonna be the boring heavyweight fight. This is the one where it's gonna be slow and no action, because like you just said, Oleynik won't be able to do what he does usually to Werdum. There's no way he pulls an Ezekiel on Werdum or anything like that. And Werdum sometimes, you know, he could also be like slow, and he has been off for a couple of years. So if anything, this is the fight at heavyweight that's gonna be a little boring.
I think it's going to be a really good fight.
Werdum by decision.
I've got Fabricio Werdum by knockout. I think Werdum knocks out Oleynik. Yep. Oleynik's been knocked out before. Werdum's got good hands. He's big. He's strong. He's solid. I like Fabricio Werdum by knockout. I don't think anybody's getting submitted here, even though both of these guys have a lot of beautiful submission victories to their credit. I don't think it's going to go there because it cancels it out, right? So I've got Werdum by knockout. Odds makers like him big time. Minus 320. Oleynik plus 290, the underdog. Odds makers not giving Alexey Oleynik a chance in hell. And neither do we.
I hope he walks in. Dave, I hope he walks in with a boomerang. It's so funny.
I don't think people even get that reference anymore. It's so old, AJ.
What?
What?
It's an old guy, man. It's an old guy thing.
Yeah. Okay, so... So we all have Werdum for the win. Freddie, what was your method of victory on that?
Boring decision.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All what? Right. No way.
And AJ's got what? Decision too? Knockout?
KO, man.
Nice. All right. Going with me. I like it. Carla Esparza and Michelle Waterson. That's a fun fight. Carla Esparza, former champion here at 115 pounds. She's coming off a couple wins. Michelle Waterson has been a contender for a long time. She's coming off a loss to Joanna last October. A tough decision loss there for Michelle Waterson. Joanna, obviously everybody knows Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Super tough. This is a big fight at 115 pounds. Odds makers have Michelle Waterson as the underdog. Plus 130. Carla Esparza minus 140. I'm a bit surprised by that. I would have figured that Michelle Waterson would be the favorite. Carla has trouble with rangy strikers, which is what Michelle Waterson is. As long as Michelle Waterson avoids the takedown, I think she's got to win here. I've got Michelle Waterson by decision.
Dave.
Yeah, I like
I'm
Michelle
gonna agree with
Waterson.
you on that.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Her
We're all
grappling
in agreement here. Michelle Waterson is the underdog here. You guys surprised? I am.
A little bit, and
not-
I'm probably gonna be looking at her in my future mise au jeu betting this weekend.
Yeah, that's a good pick right there,
And
Michelle
mise au
Waterson.
jeu, if you want to sponsor us, just get in contact with Dave. Anthony's gonna give you his number.
The phone number. It's 51. Oh, sorry.
All right, AJ, who you picking?
I just told you, man. Waterson, which is like, I think is a good mise au jeu pick.
Yeah,
It's an
all right.
underdog, which I can't understand. But
Uriah
he's gonna win it
Hall,
by decision.
Uriah
Oof,
Hall,
this is good.
and Jacare. Holy shit! This is the first fight on
On
the
a
TV
prelim?
prelims. 8 p.m.
That's
Saturday
sick.
night. You turn on your TV. You're watching the fights. 8 o'clock. It's fucking Uriah Hall and Jacare right off the bat. Hell yeah! This is gonna be awesome. Yes.
Yes and no, man. They should have put it as the first one because if people tune in late for some reason, they're gonna miss a great fight.
Well, don't tune in
No
late.
offense, but
Fucking set
So
your
we're
PVR.
live at what time?
you're right.
We're gonna be live at
we're
what
on at
time on
10.
Saturday?
Well, we're
Only
supposed
at
to be
10?
on. Why? You want to be on early or Fred? What's the matter?
I think we should
Yeah,
be
man,
around
you know what? Freddie's
8,
got a
man.
point.
This card is
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, man.
But that
He's
would
got a
mean-
point.
We'll see.
That would
We'll
mean we'd be
discuss.
doing like a 5-hour YouTube show.
For what?
Well, I'm gonna
have
be
nothing
taking
better to
some
do. We're
smoke
stuck at
breaks,
home.
for sure.
Listen, it's not like you can go anywhere, man. And everybody that's watching can't go to Jack's squad anywhere. So you know what? What's the difference?
All right.
It'll
All
be
right,
5 hours of like fun.
All right. I'll talk to the team and we'll see what we can do. We'll see if we can arrange it. I think we can. We'll try
There
and
you
get
go.
on.
Freddie's prepared.
We'll definitely be on by 10, but maybe we'll be on at 8. Maybe we'll start early. I mean, we all have a
Exactly,
family.
Dave.
The thing is, guys, we all have like kids and stuff, right? Don't we have to take care of our kids at some point? Should we be spending
it's a
5
good-
hours?
It's
doing
a good
this?
way to
I mean-
escape, my friend. It's a
I
good
mean,
way
your
to escape
kids are,
with a
are
reason.
rebels, man. Me, my daughter's in bed at 8. you
She's
know?
in bed
She's
by
an
8.
angel.
AJ, what about your kids?
Dave.
Are they in
Look,
bed by 8?
I'm okay by 8 o'clock.
Yeah, you're fine. You sure?
You know
It's
AJ's always
AJ.
ready.
Well, my son is
I was ready
definitely
to go to
not.
Dave's house.
My son is definitely not in bed by 8. So maybe we'll start the show at 8, but I might not be on it or something. We'll see.
But
Who
it's
knows?
okay because
Just
it's
get
a
him on the
watch-along.
show
It's
also.
a date night.
Yeah,
Listen, Dave,
that's
it's a date night. It's a date night. You could do whatever you want. You could come with clothes. You could come without clothes. You could come with wine, beer,
Are you bringing
Oh,
weed.
please
pizza?
don't.
I don't
clothes.
care.
Are you bringing me pizza?
Look, if we were like all together, we'd be drinking Uncle Benny's wine.
just
we'd be doing
deliver
our
me-
poker night.
I just want you to deliver me some pizza and some Uncle Benny's wine.
I'm missing like Uncle Benny's wine.
Yeah,
we got to
man.
get him on the show at some point.
Let's do it.
Get his picks
Hey.
on the fights.
Maybe we could get Muscles Marco on the show and we can ask him to stop sexually harassing me and Fred.
Myself, too.
How about that?
I mean,
How
What
about
did he
that?
send
Muscles
today? He
has
sent
got-
something that was funny today. I forgot what it
It
was.
was like a
naked yoga
scary
again.
TikTok video. I don't know. Muscles
yeah.
Marco, Muscles Marco, who was our bodyguard at one time and is AJ's cousin, even though you're not really cousins. He's been spamming me and Fred, and I guess AJ too. I wonder how many other people get the daily videos from Muscles Marco. Some of them are just weird videos. Some of them, a lot of them are just like explicit pornography, and it's really shocking stuff. And I don't expect it. And, well, now I've come to expect it from Marco. I don't understand why he's sending me this stuff. There's no words attached. There's nothing. There's no, like, hey, I thought you might like this. Hey, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, why is he sending this to me? And then I come to find out he's sending it to Fred as well. We're all getting the same stuff. And he sends it to you too, AJ. So I wonder who else is on his list of whatever. And I was
Marco is
talking
wild,
about
man.
this. And
He's
I was told, yeah, that's sexual harassment. Muscles Marco is sexually harassing you. So Muscles Marco is sexually harassing
Me too.
Fred
Listen,
and
I'm gonna tell
Fred
you
and
something.
me.
Dave,
We should
Dave,
get him on
Muscles
the
Ringside
show.
Reports first,
Listen,
me too.
That's right.
Muscles
We should get
Marco-
him on the show so we could confront him about sexually harassing Fred.
Muscles.
I always
is
thought
not
it would have
worried
been
about the
AJ.
law. It's not me, man. And listen, I don't send naked yoga stuff like he sends. I'm like, what's up with Marco now with this yoga thing? It
Shocking.
started off
You think
okay.
Marco does naked yoga?
I wouldn't want to see muscles like naked at any point in my life.
AJ, it's funny.
His poor girlfriend.
Nobody really that you haven't really brought anybody into my life, right? Like I brought Fred into your life. I introduced you to Fred, right? And
Freddie.
now you know Fred through me, right? The only person that I now know through you is Muscles Marco, and he's sexually harassing me. So congratulations, AJ. These are the types of people you're hanging around with. Congratulations.
Look, like I said, Muscles is like he's no like stranger to breaking the law. But the thing with Muscles
we know
is,
that. We know that.
But I don't think Muscles understands how those sharing things work for some reason. Because you're right, there's no caption, there's no title. It's just straight like boom,
straight video, and you're like, "What is this? Why is he sending this to me?"
What I'm worried about is that he has like some kind of list, and on that list is probably his mom or his priest, or like social worker. I don't know.
That's it. He's like you on the internet. He's like you. You don't really understand how to use it. Like, I wonder if he even knows that he's sending all this shit to me. It's crazy.
Look, I told Muscles went crazy at TSN. I'm going to tell you something. I told Muscles, I said, Muscles.
No, take it easy. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there.
I said, Muscles, you know what happened? I said, go out and start, like, talking about, like, the boys. And, man, he went out like a soldier. God knows
Marco's a good man. Marco's a soldier. I love Muscles Marco, and that's the only reason I'm not turning him in for sexually harassing Fred. All right?
Poor Fred.
So UFC 249 is Saturday night, guys. That's our preview. It's happening. We got some early prelim cards that are going to be on Fight Pass. Ryan Spann versus Sam Alvey. Charles Rosa versus Bryce Mitchell. And Vicente Luque against Nico Price. Just a fantastic UFC card, top to bottom. We'll try and get on by 8 p.m. We'll definitely be on by 10. We'll see. I'll see if I can get permission from the team. All right, the other team.
Aren't you so excited about this?
I am very excited.
It's like crazy. There's so many people looking forward to this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like you know what?
Let's finish with thank you, Dana.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Dana.
And you know who thanked Dana as well?
Dana.
Guess who thanked Dana of all people? Oscar De La Hoya. So if Oscar De La Hoya is thanking Dana White, you know Dana's doing something right. And you know what? People
you said it
Dana.
twice correctly.
Did I? Dana.
You said Dana twice correctly.
No, I said Dana.
He flip-flops. AJ's a flip-flopper. Classic.
No, Dave. You're the flip-flopper.
No, you're the flip-flopper,
you wrote
AJ.
down your picks. Freddie, did you put down Dave's picks? Those dirty sandals.
That's you, bro. Flip-flopper.
Hey, listen. Dana is right. Like I've been saying on this show all the time. So if Dana's listening to our show, he knows that AJ was on his side. Homie.
Dana White says other sports cave to media pressure, and he's like, golf and car racing could be done without fans. I don't think he's wrong about that at all. Why aren't they playing golf? Why aren't they doing car racing? Why aren't they playing tennis? Like, if they're doing UFC, like tennis is a sport where you can stay more than 6 feet apart. Golf is a sport you can stay more than 6 feet apart. Car racing, same deal. Why aren't these other sports happening? Even baseball.
You said earlier you didn't care about golf, but golf, I think today announced that they're going to have some special pay-per-view match with Tiger Mickelson, but Tom Brady and Peyton Manning also are going to be involved. So
that'll be cool.
Who's going to buy a pay-per-view for golf? Who's going to buy a golf pay-per-view? Get the fuck out of here.
You'd be surprised, man. People want to see Phil against
Dave.
Tiger.
I'm not buying a golf pay-per-view.
Come on, man. I got to call you out. Tiger Woods is a bigger star than anybody ever in the UFC.
Yeah, but he doesn't sell pay-per-views. People aren't accustomed to buying
Trust me,
golf.
if you want, people will buy to see Tiger Woods.
Listen,
maybe they will.
Listen, McGregor is known around the world. It doesn't matter where you are. Singapore, Africa, the freaking hills of Kazakhstan.
And unlike Tiger Woods, Conor McGregor doesn't cheat on his wife.
Exactly. And he has proper 12. What does Tiger have? He doesn't even have Nike anymore.
We don't know.
No.
And neither does John Jones, damn it.
Talk about John Jones. What's happening to him? He's so quiet lately.
I don't know.
We need something.
Stipe says he's going to fight DC next. The fight is going to happen, and his management is working on a date, but it's not going to happen anytime soon.
And DC's right. He was winning that fight. DC was dominating that fight. He just made a little error. DC's got this. I'm on Team DC.
I got DC in the rematch. I think DC was winning that fight. He got a little too aggressive. He stopped doing certain things in that fight. He just let his guard down for,
Oh, Stipe caught him. Look, Stipe, I'm not taking anything away from Stipe because Stipe, took all the shots from Cormier and he ended up giving it the kill shot. So props to Stipe. But as far the contest itself, Daniel Cormier was dominating most of the contest and then one error. And I think Cormier could fix that error by fighting just a little smarter and not putting himself in danger. I got Cormier. I big fan of DC, and I think he's going to win that rematch.
I think DC wins the rematch, but, I am remembering some things during that fight where Stipe made some really good adjustments in the corner between some rounds. Stipe was losing that fight, but he did make certain adjustments that enabled him to turn things around and win the fight. I think DC wins the rematch. I think it was
a body shot that changed a lot of it, if I remember correctly.
I think DC does win the rematch, but, man, I do want to see it again because it was a great fight. Their second fight was great. The first one ended pretty quick when DC won, but that second DC-Stipe fight was a lot of fun, and now that it's 1-1, you got to see the trilogy, so it's going to happen at some point. Dana White's
he's hoping...
What? Go ahead.
He's hoping I was going to say is that, in fact, today I was listening to DC speaking, and he wants to have this fight as early as August. And I think in Ohio, because where Stipe is working as a first responder, I think they have the quarantine on lock till May 29th. So, I mean, look, that's very possible. If Stipe gets an opportunity to start training after May 29th, we can see this fight actually taking place in August. And I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of fights that are going to be surprise blockbusters happening from now till the end of December. And that's going to be one of them, as early as you can think.
Well, I don't know, man. I know that DC wants this fight soon, but Stipe doesn't. So it's going to take a little bit, and we might have
it's not that
some
he
waiting.
Dave, whoa there. Hold your horses. It's not that he doesn't want to. It's that he has a responsibility as a first responder to do his primary job, which is being a firefighter. He wants to fight, but he still needs a camp, and he needs all this. So if that order is lifted by May 29th, Stipe will give what the.
So you're saying he's scared of DC?
I don't say he's scared of DC, but he's going to be very cautious.
I heard you say that. All right.
Don't be scared.
Hey man, I didn't say that.
Apparently, there's a NASCAR race coming up. They are doing NASCAR.
What?
Is that happening?
Well,
yeah, NASCAR announced also that they're restarting.
See, Fred knows about NASCAR. Fred is a big NASCAR fan. Okay, guys, I have a question for you, and I want you to give it some time to think, okay? Anderson Silva, the great Anderson Silva, 45 years of age right now, underwent knee surgery. He says he's got 2 more fights left. I want you to think good and hard about who those fights should be and tell me after I tell everybody about our good friends at Stitcher. Okay? Okay. So I'm going to tell you about our good friends over at Stitcher Premium. Now, at the Ringside Report Network, we've been making podcasts for a long time now. Many of you have used Stitcher to stream or download our shows. Wrestling Uncensored, Ringside Report MMA, this show right here. Stitcher offering you the Ringside Report universe as part of their sponsorship of our work, a special offer on the premium version of their service. Besides all of our podcasts, you can listen to over 100,000 podcasts on your iPhone, Android, tablet, PC, Amazon Echo device, or in your car on demand ad-free with Stitcher Premium. You also get access to Stitcher Originals, bonus episodes, comedy albums, and more. Just $4.99 a month or $34.99 a year. What you want to do is go to Stitcher.com/premium, Stitcher.com/premium to sign up today. Use the special promo code RINGSIDE for a free month and let Stitcher know that we sent you, and also continuing to support the Ringside Report network, allowing us to make stuff like this right here for you. Look at that technology. That's because of your support that we're able to do that. Stitcher Premium. Stitcher.com/premium. Promo code ringside.
Ooh, sounds great, Dave. You say it so well.
Guys, you have thoughts on Anderson Silva?
Man.
Okay.
Yoel Romero.
Ready.
Oh, okay.
What?
That's a good one. Okay,
Oh.
we'll debate that in a second, because first I have to tell you about our friends over at IP Vanish. Bye, guys. Making you vanish. These days, security on the internet is a major concern. Identity theft, fraud, privacy. Hackers are at home now with time in their hands. They've got nothing better to do than to try and attack you. Now, there are hackers that are spending their days lurking to find someone they can attack. They can get access to all your stored information, passwords, credit cards. Keep them out with IP Vanish. Now, effective May 1st, this is a May deal for IP Vanish, a 30-day money-back guarantee policy. This is extended risk-free that'll give you more time to evaluate IP Vanish. It's an outstanding deal for the Ringside Report universe. We want you to stay healthy and secure. That's why we are recommending what we use, IP Vanish. Sign up right now. Open up a browser window. Go to vpn.ringsidereport.net. That's vpn.ringsidereport.net. And if you sign up for a subscription that'll include a 7-day money-back guarantee using our link, the Ringside Report Network will receive a small commission that'll help us produce more content. So go to vpn.ringsidereport.net. Freddie said Yoel Romero for Anderson Silva. Freddie's got Mike and Ike's. Is there a guy named Mike or Ike that you want Anderson to fight too, Fred? I don't understand why you're showing me that.
Just a fan of Ike and Mike's and Ike's.
So
thought you were
Yoel
gonna say
Romero,
Mike-
Fred, why?
This big.
Well, look, you said that, so I just went on UFC.com/rankings and I started looking, and I'm like, what could make sense for Anderson Silva? And I'm like, Yoel Romero, right? Why not? He didn't look good in his last fight. The guy's over 40, so is Anderson Silva. They're both like at an upper age. I think it's a fair fight. I think it's a good fight. It's two names. It's people like both guys. I think, there would be some type of draw for that. If you tell me, okay, so Silva says he wants two fights. Let's say he won only one fight, and this would be his retirement fight. This would be a great fight to do in Brazil or something like that.
Could he fight Shogun?
Yeah, that's interesting also. I saw it. I saw his name, and I thought of it also.
Maybe Jacare, somebody like that. How about Darren Till?
Nah,
No? Why not?
Darren Till doesn't deserve to be in the cage with Anderson Silva.
I think that's not an unwinnable fight for Anderson. I think he could win. Darren Till is ranked 5th right now at 185 pounds. If Anderson Silva wins against Darren Till, he could get a title shot.
Anderson,
Who knows?
Unfortunately, look, Michael Bisping has a win over Anderson. Like, let's not make Anderson lose against another guy that he shouldn't lose from England. Sorry, England.
My goodness, Fred. All right. Well, I'd go with Shogun. I'm looking at guys that are kind of, older, and if let's say Jacare loses on Saturday, maybe Jacare.
But it's normal that Jesus loves you, man.
What?
Anderson Silva, he would be saying it's normal, and
It's normal.
Yoel would be saying Jesus
It's
loves
normal.
you, man. So
Well, how about this?
That's the perfect.
How about the loser of Jacare and Uriah Hall?
That could be interesting.
Like if Jacare loses, well, then Jacare's kind of in a bad spot in his career. He's 40 years old, Jacare, right? And if he loses to Uriah Hall, not so good anymore. Uriah Hall kind of got that funky style, a little bit like Anderson Silva. If he loses to Jacare, I think it shows that he's maybe not as dangerous as he once was. He's 35. He's getting up there. I could see Hall and Anderson being a good fight, or Anderson and Jacare being a good fight. I'd take either of those. There are fights out there for Anderson Silva.
Yeah, but 2 fights. And
Yeah,
the end
that's
of his
enough.
career, Dave.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, he's not
I mean-
going to be a contender again. He's not going to be a champion again. But
Look,
like I'm saying,
he
the
got
Darren
stem
Till
cell-
fight, I'm sure Anderson, if he wants to fight, like he's kind of looking at a way like, how could I kind of get maybe a rematch? Maybe if I beat like a guy like Darren Till, then I could get a fight with Israel and get a title shot and maybe go out on top. Like I'm sure there's something in Anderson's mind, because in the past few years there's been talk from Anderson like, oh, if I win this, I'll get a title shot. Like I remember when he fought Israel Adesanya, he was talking
looked
like,
good.
yeah, he looked all right. He lost a decision, and he was talking like, well, if I beat Israel here, I know it's kind of, you know, a younger guy, and it doesn't really make
So
sense
no
to
one's
fight
gonna
him.
say George here.
But they said, well, if I beat Israel, I'll get a title shot. Well, George is an interesting one. George St Pierre, he's out there. I just don't think George is that interested in fighting Anderson at this point.
Look,
Probably not.
right now listen, why not? Because if you're going to look at money talk, this is the time that it can happen, because with all the UFC, they've got to pump out those 40 fights from now to the end of December. Endeavor really needs to make some big bucks, and the only way to make big bucks is have money fights. So it has nothing to do with the title right now. They need to make money. It has to do with who can they showcase with big names to get big money. And George
Again, you're
is
wrong,
in a good
AJ, because
no.
they
I'm
only
not. I
need to
think
make
George is in a-
events. They don't need superstars. They only need to make events. Like we
But
said
they need to
last week or
make-
2 weeks ago, it could be me
Yeah.
and you in the main event, and Dana delivers.
Yeah, for sure. ESPN is still going to pump out that money that they're guaranteed. But the bottom line is to make a profit. They need to start getting some big pay-per-view numbers, and getting a guy like George on the card to fight a guy like Anderson Silva for his retirement fight, his last fight, win or lose. You got two great fighters. People are going to put out big money to see this
Look,
fight.
AJ,
And you know what?
For old guys like us, that's a big fight. For guys that have been following the sport for a long time, that's a mega fight. We'll pay to see it. We're down with it. But at this point, today's MMA fans, people that became MMA fans by watching Conor McGregor, they don't know George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva. They don't really care, and they're not interested in buying a pay-per-view for that thing. So I don't know how big of a fight that would really be. I think for us, sure, it would be massive. We'd love to see it. But, you know, the time to make that fight, I think, was, you know, 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
I agree.
And that
I
fight
agree
didn't
with
happen.
you, but
If it didn't happen then, like, okay, cool. I'd be down to see
And
it
I'm gonna-
now. But I'll
It's not
send
really you another thing.
It's not something I need to see anymore. Like, I wanted to see it when they were in their prime, when George was the king of 170, Anderson was the king of 185. There was talk of that fight happening. I remember when George came back after knee surgery to fight Carlos Condit, I found it quite disrespectful that Anderson Silva did a press conference before the fight at the Bell Center. Anderson was in Montreal for no other reason than to watch George St. Pierre fight Carlos Condit, because Anderson was angling for a fight with GSP. Anderson called an impromptu press conference that I was at before the UFC pay-per-view even started, talking about George and fighting George, and, well, if I don't fight George, maybe I'll fight this guy or that guy. But even back then, Anderson was hunting George St. Pierre, and George didn't want it. George said, I'll take that fight if Anderson fights at 170. I'll fight anybody in the world at 170 pounds. George didn't want to go up to 185. Anderson couldn't make 170 or didn't want to. He had fought at 170 in the past, but that was in his much younger days. The fight just never happened. But I remember I remember being in the room with Anderson Silva and looking at him and thinking, man, this is kind of a dick move on Anderson's part. This is George's big comeback. He hasn't fought in a year. And here's Anderson Silva trying to steal some headlines and generate some buzz for him and George. It was kind of a weird move, but, you know, it didn't work out for him. I don't think George liked that. That fight never happened.
I mean, it's part of the fight game, you know, people are going to get called out. But I'm just going to say one thing. With everything happening with COVID, here in Montreal, the gyms are not about to open. So George St. Pierre is probably not fighting in 2020. I'm just going to say that right now.
Yeah,
He's got a
St. Pierre,
private gym. He's got his own gym.
Yeah,
That is
George is
private
not
gym.
the type of guy that takes his training lightly. Like, if he's going to fight, he's going to take a full training camp and all. Like, I don't know. I'm predicting there's...
You don't think George St. Pierre could pay to get all his team tested, quarantined in the private gym, living
We're
there,
not even
living
allowed
together?
right now in Montreal. We're not
What?
even allowed right now in Montreal. That'd be illegal.
Well, George
'Cause
could
I
go
can't-
somewhere else if he needed to do it.
Look,
I'm just saying,
all he has-
George's
George-
not fighting
if
in
there's one thing-
2020. That's
listen,
my prediction.
I don't think he is either. I think George at this point doesn't look like he's fighting in 2020. Maybe 2021 against Khabib, but other than that, I just don't see it happening.
Look, from 2019 September to where we are today, I can assure you this, that George trains like a beast every day. And if anybody's ready to be called
Not
into
the same
fight,
thing.
that'll be George. It's not the same thing, but George is
George
ready
doesn't take fights
to
on
fight.
short notice without
No,
preparation.
listen.
That's not true.
Listen, I'm not saying that George will take a fight in July and August, but I can see George taking a fight sometime in November, December. And you know what? If the money is there, George will be fighting this year. And you know what? I'm not surprised if Dana's going to offer him something. Something's going to happen. I'm telling you, George's name is going to come up, and we can see something like George fighting to end this year,
That
man.
Dana guy's
On a good
not
note.
the same guy that Dana, because Dana's not going to give that to George.
George, Matt, is going to take it if the money is right. Said it many times. And in fact, Dave Simon posed him that question on his retirement. And what did he say, Dave?
Yeah, he said he was down. He was down. He'd come back if they offered the fight and the deal was right. I don't think they're going to offer the fight. I don't think it's going to happen. Definitely not this year. AJ, we've got a great comment from Johnny North, my main man. Of course, I'll be on here with Johnny tomorrow at 12:45.
Johnny!
We're going to be talking about the latest episode of Dark Side of the Ring with Herb Abrams, so we will recap that. Johnny North said,
When's the Owen Hart?
the Owen Hart one is going to be in 2 weeks. Next week is the Road Warriors, and then after that it's the Owen Hart one, and that'll be the season finale of Dark Side of the Ring. So we're going to recap the Herb Abrams UWF story tomorrow on Dave and Johnny Live at 12:45 here on the YouTube channel. And then, of course, Saturday morning we're going to preview WWE Money in the Bank on Wrestling Uncensored. And then Sunday night we'll be on at 7 p.m. for the entirety of Money in the Bank, a big watch-along for that. So, big weekend. So we have Dave and Johnny Live tomorrow, Wrestling Uncensored Saturday morning. Saturday night at maybe 8 p.m. now, we'll see. We're going to have the UFC 249 watch-along. Sunday night, we're going to have the WWE Money in the Bank watch-along. So very busy weekend here on the channel. Stuff every day, starting now, and then tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that.
It's crazy. It's about time, man. I'm getting stir crazy doing nothing.
Johnny North
How many
says,
times can you watch reruns of hockey, baseball, and
yeah, who wants to
football?
watch
The
that?
reruns, man. I don't give a shit about the Canadians winning in 93. I want to see Canadians winning in 2020, 2021. It's not happening in 2020. It won't happen in 2021. But I want to see now. At least the UFC, if you're looking at a old fight, it's kind of still exciting in some weird way.
Johnny North says, AJ is just missing the tan to be Santino. I agree. Look at that. Yeah. Yeah. AJ looks like
With the
Santino.
Italian flag.
I know. Santino Marella. That's you, AJ.
Mortadella.
Marella. He's actually he's a Canadian guy. He went to Concordia. He spent some time in Montreal. He lives in Toronto. He's a Toronto guy. Looks like you,
I know
AJ. Santino
Yeah,
looks just like you.
Doesn't he have a wrestling school in Toronto? If
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, Santino.
Yeah.
I know Santino. Me and him, we're buddies, man.
Are you?
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. Yeah, me and Santino. He was in jiu-jitsu for a while. Listen, I'm going to tell you something, Dave. I want to see Johnny North in the AEW.
Okay. AJ, we'll be
What?
back
That's
here on
it?
Saturday night, and it's going to be a good time. I look forward to it. UFC 249. Thank you, everybody,
It's
for
going to be
watching.
crazy.
Big thanks
What
to
time,
everybody. Big thanks to everybody hitting us up on the Super Chat. I wish somebody would hit us up on the Super Chat now just so we could hear that sound effect again. Super Chat, Super Chat.
Super Chat. Super Chat.
That was awesome. Scared the shit out of us. That was great. Thanks to Patrick C. Hamilton for the Super Chat. Thank you to TK. He says, love the jersey, Dave. Thank you. This is a Tim Raines batting practice jersey, baby. Thank
Tim
you to
Raines,
Patrick
man.
C.
Oof.
Hamilton again. Thank you to Leor checking in, giving us some medical advice, a doctor out in New
Leor.
Brunswick, giving us some medical information. I like that. Johnny North, give me a Super Chat or something. Give me some money. Johnny
Dr.
North,
Love,
Johnny North, give me some
Come on,
money so
Johnny.
I can hear the sound effect, man. Come on.
empty those pockets of yours.
He's not going to
Johnny's
do
worth
it.
money, man.
Johnny's not going
Johnny's
to
worth
do it.
money.
I
If
know,
you
he's
look like
rich.
Johnny, you spend a lot of money on like looking like a champion wrestler, which he was, former champion. He always tells me that. AJ,
Hey,
I was a former champion.
Like
And you know what I
GSP
tell
says,
Johnny?
like GSP says, once you're a champion, you're always a champion.
Well, that's what. Actually, it's funny that you say that. George St Pierre said to Johnny North.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly that.
That's what I just said, AJ. That's what I just said.
Oh, I forgot that. Okay. Dave, you're right.
Of course I'm right. Once
You gotta
again.
listen to more than your own voice, AJ.
I thought he was quoting Dave,
And
like
that's
George,
not
whatever. But I was like,
that's not show advice. That's life advice, AJ, for you from Fred.
oh boy. Freddie.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Freddie,
We
you're on my
appreciate
side
it.
in the beginning of the show.
Yeah, well, it's over now. Show's over. He's got to snap back into reality. Thank you for watching, everybody. RingsideReport.net is our website. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and when you do subscribe, click the bell so you get notifications every time we're on. Like I said, we will be back on Saturday, 10 p.m. for the UFC 249 preview show. Or no, watch along. This is the preview show.
Watch along.
We'll
Dave.
be
It's a
back
date
on.
night.
I know. It's a date night. UFC 249 on Saturday night. Johnny North will be back here with me tomorrow for the Dave and
Big
Johnny
time.
live show at 12:45. But the Ringside Report crew, all three of us, will be back here with you watching the UFC on Saturday night. Tune in, subscribe to the channel, like the video, super chat, get your questions in, get everything in. We'll be here for you. We love you big time. For AJ and Fred, I'm Dave, and this has been Ringside Report.
Superfly port.
Superfly Port.